Hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about memoir topics, and I just want to let you know, I just have a little overview so you know what to expect in the video. So I'm looking at my notes, sorry, I'm looking down. I want to talk to you a little bit about moving from your general assigned subject, which is you're writing a memoir, to figuring out what your specific will be. I want to talk to you about the importance of choosing the right topic, and there are several areas of information I want to cover there. And then I'm going to give you 3 examples of my own, so that you have some examples to work with, the kinds of topics that would work well for this assignment. So first off, I want you to know that being told you're writing a memoir can be daunting, because I think some people believe they have to pick a really large part of their life experience or a large part of their history. And you really should, as I sort of remind you in the instruction sheet, you should probably make sure that you're picking a specific moment. So let me give you an example of what I mean. In a minute, when I share my example topics, I'll talk to you about some topics that I might use related to moving to Colorado. I wouldn't want to write my memoir about moving to Colorado. I wouldn't want to talk about all of it. There's a specific moment, actually 2, that I've isolated within that span of time. And I don't want to write an autobiography. I could write probably a very large book on all of the moves I've made in my life, staying within the United States. But I don't want to write that. So I'm picking particular moments. And that's how you're going to move from something general, me telling you, hey, you have to write a memoir, to figuring out what your topic is going to be. And the more specific your moment is, the better your essay will be. It'll allow you to really dig into the details and make it an entertaining essay about this particular moment. Just like the Junot Diaz memoir we read in class today, it was about a specific incident that happened. He had to give us a little bit of background on the fact that the money was stolen, but then the real moment was about his anger and sort of how he sought revenge to get the money back. So we see how specific that was. So next thing, I want to talk to you about the importance of choosing topics that you care about. The more you care about these moments that are in your memory, and these are actually very easy to find because they kind of stand out in your mind as pretty significant to who you are even today. So easy to pick them. However, here's sort of the side note. Important to have a good topic so that you're interested in writing your memoir. You'll learn better while we're going over all of these essay concepts. But if the topic you choose makes you too emotional, then it might be hard for you to write. And so you might want to make sure that the topics that you're choosing, these events, these moments, I keep calling them events and moments, that you might pick something that you have at least 6 months distance from, or at least enough maturity to deal with a topic so that it doesn't make you feel emotionally vulnerable. I certainly am not assigning this memoir for that to happen. So make sure you feel comfortable with the topic that you've chosen. And last, related to how to pick good topics and the importance of having a good topic, I mentioned in the memoir instruction sheet that you could go to page, I'm looking at my book, 34. I'll show it to you actually. There's a section called Questions for Probing. This is page 34. You can see the book here. I'm trying to get it so you can see it. There it is. And then there's a blue box at the bottom of page 34, and then it continues on to page 35. And you can look at the questions and just in your mind as you're thinking about your topics, the 3 that you have to write about in your journal, going through the questions, and you'll see I give you some advice in the instruction sheet about how can these questions help you to identify your best topic. All right, so last part of the video, and I'm almost done. I wanted to give you some examples of what to do and what not to do. Let's start with the what not to do. So an example memoir that I get a lot is a graduation ceremony. So it could be high school graduation, it could be a college graduation, it could be finishing a program and a certificate graduation, something like that. But the mistake that memoirists make when they're learning to write is that they cover the entire graduation versus the very important moment that occurred in the graduation that they really should focus on and write about. So let me give you an even more specific example of what not to do. So I taught English in the summer at a different community college, and I got a graduation memoir. I get them often. And of course, it covered too much time. And the part that he really wanted to write about, the writer wanted to tell us, was that he was the valedictorian. So he spent too much time talking about standing in line and putting on his robe and finding his seat and all of that kind of stuff, and not enough time on delivering his speech. When in fact the whole memoir could have been just about delivering his speech and really slowing down time so that we could see what it was like to be the valedictorian and standing up on the stage and giving that speech. So I hope you understand what I just did. I gave you a topic that usually works pretty well, but I want these memoirs to be really laser focused on particular moments. So my 3 example topics would be cooking with my grandmother, but I'm going to get even more specific than that. I have a very specific memory of her teaching me how to make chocolate fudge with walnuts. It was right before Christmas, and I was probably about 17. And I really do credit her for being the person who taught me the most about cooking and teaching me to love to cook. So I think I could write a really great memoir about learning how to make candy, because that's what I was doing, learning how to make fudge. And then I have 2 topics related to moving to Colorado. You guys remember I'm new here, so there was a particular moment when we were driving, and it took us about 5 days to get here. And there was a moment where we finally reached I-70, and I-70 is near my home where I was born, so it was funny to be on a different part of I-70, but that's when we were in Colorado, and there was this just gorgeous stretch that we drove, and I know I could write a really interesting memoir about being in the car with my family and the dialogue that we shared that day and what the weather was doing, because that was actually pretty specific to the experience, because it was much different weather than we were used to experiencing at home, where we were coming from. And then I have another memoir topic idea. When we finally moved into our house in June, I have a very specific memory about one particular box that I opened, and it just made me have so many experiences in thinking about my past. So unpacking this one box would be my memoir, and going through the items in that box and talking about what happened to me emotionally as I was opening that box and unpacking it. So those are my 3 memoir topics, very, very specific ones, and I have a lot of work to do to figure out which one will work best for me. All right, I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a great week. Don't forget, if you have questions about the memoir or whether your topics are going to work or not, feel free to email me. Take care.